Added a little bit, 99 on.
All right, everybody, how are we doing? Welcome back to Baseball Scoops, your one-stop scoop shop for everything that is Major League Baseball. I am Tommy. How are we doing, everybody? Few things have happened. QOs have been accepted. A big trade went down. So we got a lot to talk about. Kinda. And that's what we're going to get into. We're going to get into the trade that the Baltimore Orioles made because I have concerns. I have questions. I'm trying to wrap my head around it. What are they doing? Are they crazy? I did an article on my Substack, and I was talking about how that the Orioles need pitching. We enjoyed the breakout that was Rodgers. We enjoyed it. It was great. It made trading Kyle Stowers not as painful, where at first it was like, okay, this is just a straight up loss. There's just nothing here. And he finally breaks out and he emerges, but after him, not a single pitcher had an ERA below 4. I mean, this all boils down to, like, you didn't extend Corbin Burns when he was in your building, and you traded for him and you gave up assets for him. And I'm not saying that trade looks like a wash for both sides, but it definitely doesn't look good for the Orioles. And you trade a guy that was really pegged to be the front of your rotation starter in Grayson Rodriguez. Now, you do get a very good bat in Ward. You do. Ward had a phenomenal season. Like, Ward across the board was fantastic. I thought he was phenomenal for the Angels. And we just talked about how the Royals need outfielders and how the Royals are looking for outfielders and who should they trade with. Well, the Angels were in the midst of looking to ship out Joe Adell and Taylor Ward, and it looks like Taylor Ward is the man out for sure. And I think this is a win for the Angels. I'm scratching my head for the Orioles. But for context, I want to kind of dive into maybe why the Orioles side they did this before I absolutely bash them to no end, because it doesn't make sense. Let's look at them from a power standpoint. Like, from offense standpoint, like, they were 24th in runs, they were 25th in hits. They were 11th in home runs, so at least they had that, but they were 24th in RBIs, 22nd in walks, 27th in strikeouts, and then you look at their offensive metrics. I mean, that's a bottom 10 team in the league. So you add a guy like Ward, who absolutely tore the cover off the ball this year for them. I mean, he had 36 home runs, which is a career high. He had 103 RBIs, which is a career high. Those metrics alone, those metrics alone would have been the best on the Orioles. That's 19 more home runs than the second guy, and you had a 3-way tie with Gunnar Henderson, Jackson Holliday, and Jordan Westburg. That's not ideal, and he had 40 more RBIs than Gunnar Henderson. So, like, that's not great. But so I can understand why they did this. And you look at his metrics across the board, like, not bad. I mean, he hit 228 with a 792 OPS, and his WRC plus was 117, which was the second best of his career. So they're adding a pretty reliable bat, right? Like, this is a guy he's reliable, and he's going to give them some good offense. And I think that's the important part, per se, for them. But I still think it's, like, kind of diabolical. Like, this is good if you're the Orioles, because the only outfielders last season with 35 home runs and 100 RBIs were Judge, Soto, Riley Green, and Taylor Ward. This is per Just Baseball. They have a potential lineup of players, right? Where it's their lineup is, and this is the order they have it. They have Jackson Holliday, Jordan Westberg, Gunnar Henderson, Taylor Ward, Dylan Beavers, Adley Rutschman, Colton Cowser, Samuel Basallo, and Kobe Mayo. So overall, like that's really not a bad lineup. Like I think you're adding some more pop. Evidently, they needed that. So I don't necessarily hate the trade from that standpoint. Like they were not a very good offensive team. I like the new manager they have. So maybe he can kind of refine this offense a little bit, right? I don't like how this trade shapes up because you look at it and you just traded a player that has like 4 more years of team control for a guy who's a free agent after this upcoming season. And the Baltimore Orioles have shown no signs that they are going to pay anybody. Nobody. Like they're not going to, like they just haven't done that yet. We're waiting because they changed ownership, and we all thought that with ownership changing that they'll go ahead and spend money. But they haven't done that. Grayson Rodriguez is only 26 years old. This is a guy that he's got elbow issues. He's got injury concerns. So durability is not on his side. He missed the entire 2025 season. But his first 2 seasons, respectable numbers. 122 innings his first season, 4.35 ERA, not great. You look at like his savant metrics, pretty middle of the pack and everything. I'll kind of break those down, but the whip was a 1.34. Then you fast forward to 2024, a little more of a workload, or actually no, he pitched 6 fewer innings, lost 3 starts, a 3.86 ERA and a 1.24 whip. So at least things were on the mend. But his metrics were good. Like whiff rate, he was in the 82nd percentile, K rate 75th percentile. You want to see the walk rate improve a little bit, but this is a guy who was only walking at a 7.3% clip. So, I mean, he does give up hard contact, but overall his stuff is really nice. Like his off-speed value is phenomenal. He did lose some value on the breaking ball a little bit. Fastball's never truly been his key, but the velo was up, which is really, really nice. Like just going through, like he put velocity, on his pitches throughout the year, which is really nice for that year. The whiff rates were pretty respectable in 2024. He had 2 pitches well above 30%, and his put-away pitches he had 2 pitches where he used really pretty evenly. The changeup and the slider were his bread and butter for a put-away pitch. A lot of his strikeouts came on the 4-seamer. Did do a lot of nice work with the changeup and the slider, but like looking at like his comparables, let's see, like where did he go down in? So from like 2023 to, but you kind of want the expected batting average to go down. Like that's a good thing. Like some of these are like, whoa, that's staggering, but it's like, no, you kind of want that to go down. Like your batting average against like went down from 259 to 243. Like there's some things that he did really well. It's just like you saw the hard hit rate go down a little bit, which is still nice. Like average exit velo was relatively the same. There wasn't a staggeringly change, but his walk rate went down, which is good. Strikeout rate went up. So like there's a lot to really like about him. He was throwing first pitch strikes more, which is really good. His whiff rate went up nearly 4%. Like there's a lot of stuff that you really do like about Grayson Rodriguez. It's just the durability and the injuries. And so before I bash the Orioles, because I still think they're absolutely insane, do you feel uncomfortable with his injuries? Like, are you not comfortable with his elbow? Do you think it's not going to hold up? Is it worth even hanging on to? Is it worth banking on at this point? I think Grayson Rodriguez is a very good pitcher when he's healthy. It's just healthy hasn't been his forte. I think this is a huge addition to the Angels pitching staff. I think they needed another starter, and they get a guy who they can kind of rely on. And if he looks anything like he did in 2024, I think this is a huge move for them. Is it a win for the Orioles? I think sure. In terms of you got a player that you felt like you needed. You got a player that you felt like boosts your offense and gives you a chance to necessarily win in terms of that regard, which is fine. But I think trading a pitcher that you have 4 years of control for a 31-year-old outfielder that's on an expiring deal is just, it's not great. But you do love it. I mean, right-handed bat, sprays the ball all over the field pretty well, makes pretty good hard contact, doesn't chase. There's really a lot to like. I mean, I think like you look at what they added, and it's not a bad move, but it's a bad move when you trade a pitcher that has 4 years of control for an outfielder that just doesn't, right? Like it just doesn't just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense to me. I really don't. But I think their top 6 is pretty solid. I think they have a nice young group. I think that there's a ton to be happy about potentially if you're at least the Baltimore Orioles, to at least have this type of pop in your lineup. But if you're an Angels fan, this is a massive win because now you don't have to go out and necessarily spend, not saying they would anyway, because nothing they do makes any sense, but I think this was a savvy bit of business. Like you're trading guys that are in walk years and you just got good value back, or at least what you think could be good value. For a guy like Grayson Rodriguez, who, if he returns to anything like 2024, he's going to be in really good shape. But that trade just shocked me. I was like, that's a very just strange trade, because if you're the Orioles, you now need a frontline starter. Like you need to be in the mix for Dylan Cease, Framber Valdez. I think that infield defense needs to improve a ton. Their infield defense was horrendous last year. And I think for a ground ball guy like Framber Valdez, you definitely, like, that's not going to help you at all. That's not going to help you any, really. But I do think they need a frontline starter. And if they don't, it's just malpractice giving him up, because you're banking on a lot. And that's not even including Zach Eflin's a free agent. Sagano is a free agent. Like, those guys aren't coming back, at least to my knowledge. I haven't seen any reports, but those guys are not part of the equation. So it's Rogers and then what? Like Dean Kramer? Like, you need more than that if you're going to compete in this gauntlet that is the AL East, a very formidable, tough division. In that pitching is just not going to get it done. It's just not. So if you think you can outslug your pitching woes, then power to you. Because I still think you need a bullpen too. You traded Sir Anthony Dominguez last year, which, great bit of business, but you still need that. So now I want to dive into the qualifying offers. Only 4 players accepted the qualifying offers, which I think does shift things. Players that declined: the obvious, Schwarber, Kyle Tucker, Bo Bichette, Framber Valdez, Dylan Cease, Edwin Diaz, Ranger Suarez, Zach Gallen, Michael King. Okay, 2 surprises for me. Zach Gallen. I don't know what his market's going to be like. This is a guy that struggled mightily. He had the worst year of his career last year. It wasn't a good year. The most home runs he's given up in a single year. He got bludgeoned to death with hard contact. If you're a team and you're seeing how his season ended, where Torey Lovullo, he always advocated for him, and that's why I love Torey Lovullo. Always said that he's too good of a pitcher not to figure it out, and he eventually did. He mixed in a 2-seamer, and when he started doing that, his command got better, his strikeout ability was better, and he wasn't giving up as much hard contact as he was. So the results were definitely better. So if you're a team and you see that, that's something you can work with him to next season, right? And I think then you would be in better shape being able to have him and use him. Oh, man. But I was surprised because he had that bad of a year. Like, Is he going to get more on an AAV base than the $22 million qualifying offer? Evidently, he thinks so. I'm rooting for him. I love Zach Gallen. I do think he comes back to the Diamondbacks, but I do wonder what they would pay him. He definitely picked a bad time to have a career worst year. That's for sure. And Michael King's another one too. Like, and I understand him declining his option, right? His option wasn't for very much, so I get doing that. And then the QO was $22 million. Like, dude, you were hurt last year. Like, I wonder what his market's going to be like too. Like, you battled through injuries. Your one really good year as a starter was in 2024. You couldn't get any rhythm going. I think Michael King's a great pitcher. I think he's built to be a starter. I think he's a very good pitcher, and I like his stuff, and I like the way he pitches, and I love watching his starts. But I think after the year he just had, you figured you'd take like a prove-it deal. And the other caveat too that I have with maybe those two guys, because you look at the other guys on that list, like those are guys that are going to get deals, and they're all going to have term on them. Like, I don't see Dylan Cease getting like a 1-year deal. I don't see Valdez getting a 1-year deal. I don't see like Ranger Suarez or even Edwin Diaz. Like, I don't see those guys getting a 1-year deal. I don't. And you have that 2027 dark cloud above your head. Like, maybe these guys want certainty and they want to know where they're going to be even when the lockout potentially ends. Like, even if it doesn't take the entire season away, like they just want to know where they're going to be and where they're going to go. So there is that too. Like, I can understand that element. I think a lot of that does factor in to some of these decisions that were made. But those guys are all going to, command a lot, like plenty of suitors. I think they're all going to have plenty of teams interested. And, now the sweepstakes really begin. And the compensation is as such, and I'll go over that in a little bit. But I think the biggest thing for me is the 4 players that did accept. This is why I didn't want to give Lucas Giolito the QO, because I had a feeling he was going to accept it. I had a feeling he was going to take it, and I feel like that's a waste of $22 million for the Boston Red Sox. I feel like that's not money well spent. I don't think that's proper money invested. I think maybe the Red Sox could use a veteran in their rotation, after Crochet and whoever they get as number 2 and Brian Bayo. If you don't want to rely on all the kids, I get it. I 100% get it. Having that veteran presence is key, but at the same time, like, you're not going to pay Lucas Giolito $22 million when you have more confidence in your rookies. That's always been my caveat. Last season, whether it was Dustin May, Walker Buehler, whoever, I always had more confidence in the younger guys. So I want to see those younger guys get further opportunities because they earned it and they deserve it. And that's not even including Patrick Sandoval, who could be making a push for the 5th starter role. Like, Cutter Crawford's coming back. There's so many options. Like, you don't need to allocate that money to Lucas Giolito. But you look at a guy like Trent Grisham, who's coming off a career year with the Yankees, hit 30 home runs. The Yankees have so many outfielders. They have too many outfielders. You got Aaron Judge, who is eventually going to be a DH. Giancarlo Stanton can play the field. He shouldn't play the field, but he can. He's also a DH. Then you now have Trent Grisham. You have Jason Dominguez. Spencer Jones and his 35% strikeout rate is apparently coming. They've just become the Boston Red Sox. You got too many outfielders and you only got so many spots. And the problem with them is they have too many DHs. Like, how many guys can you slot a DH between Ben Rice, Giancarlo Stanton? Like, you need those bats in your lineup. Like, I'm sorry. Like, Ben Rice is a good bat. Giancarlo Stanton is still a very prominent bat. He shouldn't play the field, but that's still a very good bat to have. It's a very good bat in your lineup. And this isn't even including that they're going to try and bring back Cody Bellinger, who put together one of the best seasons he's had in quite some time. Like, there was that free fall he had from, his MVP year in 2019. And he dominated, and he put together a good year. And I'm going to show you, like, he's built for Yankee Stadium. Good lefty bat. does a really nice job. And you look right here, this is his spray chart. And you can see just how much he loves the short porch, right? And here's all his metrics down here. Excellent defense here. His batting run value is great. His base running value is great. He stole 13 bags this year, hit 29 home runs. It's the most home runs he's hit in a single season since his MVP year. Yeah, he hit 272 with a 814 OPS. Like, really good year. Like, he had a very good season for the Yankees, and that's a player that they should want to bring back. And you know what? That's also going to be a guy that has plenty of suitors. But they allocated $22 million to Trent Grisham, and this is already a front office that has said specifically that they want to shed payroll. This is an offense that has said, a front office that has said that they want to have under $300 million. Well, you just allocated 22 to Trent Grisham, and you have to wonder, did they offer it thinking that he would decline it to see what's on the open market? And I'm not knocking Trent Grisham. I thought he had a fantastic season. He was great in the field. I thought he did really well at the plate, evidently. But if you're the Yankees, that sucks. You can't, you're stuck with him. And what do you do? Because Stanton is going to be your DH and Judge is going to play right field. And I'm assuming Grisham's in center, but what do you do? If you bring back Bellinger, you have to trade somebody. Are you going to trade Jason Dominguez? I mean, it's quite possible. I mean, Jason Dominguez is in left field. I'm sure Bellinger can play the left field if he needs to. He can play all over the place. But I mean, Jason Dominguez hit 257 with a 719 OPS. His fielding run value is, he wasn't the greatest defender in left field. He negative 10 outs above average. Great arm strength, though. Strikes out a ton. Has good bat speed. Makes hard contact. But, he's only 22 years old. He probably has value somewhere. Somebody in this league would value him. I mean, is Spencer Jones going to come up? I don't know. I'm going to pull up Spencer Jones's prospect savant page because I'm curious at what that looks like. But he strikes out a ton. He is a strikeout machine. He struck out 35.9% of the time in the minors this year. You can talk about the power and all you want. That's great. But when you strike out at that rate, it's pretty tough. But that's what the Yankees are going to be dealing with. That's what they're adding. I mean, God, 36.6%. That's horrible, but enormous power. The kid's barrel rates 96th percentile, hard hit rates in the 94th. Expected slug is in the 93rd. I mean, he slugged 555 in AAA this season with a 274 average and a 342 OBP, 897 OPS, and a 131 WRC plus. That's massive. He's a lefty, so he would absolutely mash inside Yankee Stadium. He'd make a living off the short porch. Yeah, you throw things in the middle and even inside, he crushes those. Wow, that's really interesting. Right inside the zone. Zone 9 bottom value is at 406. That's nuts. But I think he's a guy too, though, that feast and famine. He's definitely gonna give you that pop. But man, he is sure going to go ahead and strike out a ton. So he was the first domino that accepted. And I think that'll have ramifications on bringing back Cody Bellinger. I just don't think they can do that. I mean, they could, but I don't think they'd have room to add. They're losing Devin Williams. They're going to lose Luke Weaver. I don't think they're going to touch their rotation. I think you can get by with that rotation. They brought back Ryan Yarbrough, but you probably want to add some bullpen arms around Bednar, who really good closer for them. Had a tough couple of starts, but he he went ahead and held down the fort. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with that allocated money. It's going to be kind of hard for them. Then you look at Gleyber Torres. I don't know why. I thought Gleyber Torres would have had a bigger market, but he goes back to the Detroit Tigers. He plays on the QO. I'm really shocked, to be really honest. I mean, he had a pretty decent year, like especially at the plate. Like defensively, he wasn't the strongest, but he had a really good offensive year. 16 home runs, 4 stolen bases. He had 256 with the 745 OPS. Excelled in the chase rate. Didn't whiff. Didn't strike out. Walked a lot. Like he had a phenomenal approach to the plate. I think that was his best year as a hitter, to be honest. Like in terms of like putting it all together and just doing everything right. I mean, that had to have been like his best across the board. Yeah, he did an enormous job compared to last year. Like this is one of the best years as a hitter, and you mean to tell me that nobody could have afforded him on the open market to giving him a long-term deal? Like, I don't understand. Like, okay, so either the money isn't there, or these guys don't think the money's there, or like the options for like these position players is not in plenty in terms of high impact. So it's crazy that Gleyber Torres wouldn't want to gamble. I mean, he's 20 years old. Like, you mean to tell me you wouldn't want to take a gamble at the market? Maybe he didn't think he'd get paid more than 22 million, right? And then there is the advantage too, like for next offseason, like teams can approach these players and there's no QO attached to them. So that does have incentive too. Like there's no compensation going the other way. So that helps. But it's like, dude, you're probably the top second baseman on the open market. Like after Bo Bichette, like you're that guy. Like you're the next best guy. Like I know Jorge Polanco put together a really good year, but if push comes to shove, like I'm taking Gleyber Torres. Like I thought what he did was phenomenal this year. So he accepts. He goes back, which is huge. But then we just get into like the pitchers. Like Shodi Minaga, that whole situation was so confusing. Like the Cubs basically declined like their end of the option and Shota declined his end of the option. And I was like, okay, like maybe the Cubs don't want to pay him necessarily like what was going to be owed to him. But then he took the QO and it was really confusing to me. But overall, this is a good move for the Cubs. The Cubs, I don't think, could have afforded to lose him. And even bringing him back, like, you still need to go get a starter. Like, I don't think you can do what you did last year. Like, I don't think you can go ahead and do just banking on Justin Steele and banking on Shota and Matthew Boyd and Colin. Like, you need another starter, even with Cade Horton, phenomenal rookie. But you need to add another starter. Like, he had great command. His walk rate's great. Like, the whip was good. The ERA was still really good, 3.73. You know, he didn't pitch as many innings. He was dealing with injuries. There's some stuff under the hood that you kind of look at, and it does make you wonder, but he still finished in the top 4% in walk rate. Like, he's got really good command. But you look down at, like, his velo. He did lose velo on his four-seamer. The splitter was still fine. He did lose velo on the sweeper. The curveball, he lost velo. Like, he did lose velo across the board, and maybe it's a durability thing. Like, maybe they he did add a slider. That was pretty cool, but he only threw it 9 times, so it's not like he threw it a lot. But it's like, you know, how durability wise, it's like maybe that was the scare for some teams. Maybe that's why the maybe that's why the Cubs didn't want to do the longevity and opt into more years and tack on an extra few years. But a 1-year QO for a guy like him is pretty enormous. Like, you maybe could see if he bounces back and then maybe give him a longer term deal. He is 32, so it's not like he's going to get a longer term deal, but it makes sense from both sides from a business standpoint, maybe why they declined it. But I still think Shodi Managa, very good fit for Chicago. This is huge that he came back. But yeah, you could see that he lost some stuff across the board. He still gives up a lot of hard contact. Barrel rate was just horrible this year. The whiff rate went down. The chase rate went down a little bit. Yeah, fastball velo went down. Just not great. It just was a tough year. And you look at some of those metrics, and maybe that isn't a guy that you want to invest 3 more years into the deal. It's a good gamble, but he's still 90th percentile in both breaking run value and off speed value. It's just if he can kind of hone his mechanics and do better with the fastball, you're in really good shape, right? So let's kind of hope for that a little bit. Let's hope for that for a little bit for Shota, because he's a good pitcher. He's talented. He's fun. But that Cubs team still needs a starter. I mean, do they go for Dylan Cease? There was a report that they would. Me personally, I have them on the list of people that would very much acquire Mackenzie Gore. I think they have the assets to do it. Gore is under team control. I think it gives them a nice young arm to have in the fold. Definitely a move that Jed Hoyer should want to make. And last but not least, Brandon Woodruff. Woodruff accepting the QO is strange, but it makes sense. Like, pitched well. He did deal with injuries, so there is that. And the report comes out that if he does accept the QO, the likelihood of trading Freddie Peralta is up. It's increased. This is why we're going to have a lockout. So they would rather pay $22 million for a guy who came back from Tommy John, who also dealt with injuries again, over a guy that had a career year and has been the ace of the rotation for 2 years. I understand this is what the Brewers do, but you can't get mad at a team that will be aggressive, whether it's the Dodgers, the Red Sox, the Mets, the Yankees, even the Cubs. A team that's got a good farm system can easily pull this trade off. You can't get mad at the team that acquires a Freddie Peralta and then pays him when the Brewers just continuously just keep trading guys. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. I think it's good for Woodruff. I think he gets to at least prove himself more to getting a longer-term deal. And granted, that rotation still has good depth. I mean, you'll get a nice full year of Jacob Mizorowski. You'll get another year of Quinn Priester. But if they trade a guy like Freddie Peralta, I give up. Like, you can't keep doing this and getting away with it. Like, you do this way too much. Like, you got to stop doing that. But, like, that's something that can have ramifications on the trade market because there's teams that are looking for that front-end starter. And Freddie Peralta is only making $8 million, which is nothing for him, like, at all. Like, there's nothing. So I think that's honestly massive. I think it's massive that if he does get traded, because so many teams could use him. But I think it's massive too, like that Woodruff did accept that QO, and now it just is what it is. It honestly just is what it is. But it's interesting that the players that did, it kind of changed the landscape because I had Shodi Managa going to the Dodgers. Gleyber Torres, I think I had him leaving. I forget where I had him going. I want to say I had him going to the Kansas City Royals. So I'm very intrigued with this, but this is kind of where we're at in the offseason. It's just stuff that comes up and you can find ways to talk about it. This is kind of what I got for now. This is it. This is baseball scoops. This is what kind of came down the pipeline, and this is what I have to talk about. And until something else rolls in, I'll find topics to just roll off the tongue. I think I have one that I really do want to dive into just as a video segment. But yeah, this is baseball scoops. I do think the Orioles are crazy, but you never know what can happen. So without further ado, as we always say here at Baseball Scoops,